Patrick was on his way to go rock climbing with his daughter in Charlottesville, Virginia. As he started to slow down for a red light, he glanced in his rearview mirror. That's when he saw a dump truck towing an excavator behind him that wasn't slowing down. Patrick swerved to the right to avoid being shoved into the vehicle in front of him. Sadly, he wasn't quick enough, and the dump truck slammed into the left rear corner of his Tesla. The truck then struck a Subaru stopped at the traffic light and pushed it into the intersection, only stopping when the dump truck got hung up on the crosswalk signal. Thankfully, nobody was hurt, and Patrick is really glad he checked his rearview mirror and took evasive action. Otherwise, he and his daughter would have been in a much worse collision. The driver of the dump truck said the brakes had failed and the truck wouldn't stop. Patrick contacted the police, and the responding officer determined that the dump truck driver was at fault. After a body shop inspected the Tesla, it was determined to be a total loss. Patrick received an insurance settlement 60 days later and ordered a new Model 3. Lila was driving her Model Y down I-405 in Bothell, Washington, and rain was pouring down in rush hour traffic. She was driving at 65 miles per hour with the flow of traffic when the pickup in front of her swerved into the left lane without warning, revealing a traffic jam directly in front of her. Lila told us she couldn't swerve either way to avoid a collision because there were cars on both sides. So all she could do was hit the brakes before running into the Audi in front of her. Lila admits she was driving closer to the Jeep pickup than she should have been, but in her own defense, she told us that traffic will just cut in front of you on I-405 if you leave a gap any bigger than that. Nobody was injured, and Lila's phone called 911 as soon as it detected the collision. She then called her father to help her since she's only 16 years old and had never been involved in a collision before. We've gotta say, that's a spectacular wrap. If you know anything about it, let us know in the comments. Noah and his wife were traveling on I-5 in Los Angeles, California, when a BMW flew past them in the exit lane on their left. The BMW driver decided at the last minute to abandon the exit and swerve back into traffic, slamming into a white car and throwing it into a blue Prius before spinning out. Noah and his wife stopped and shared their Teslacam footage with the drivers involved. Noah told us his wife noticed the young BMW driver sounded intoxicated when he spoke. They've owned their Tesla for 3 weeks and are thankful they were able to use their footage to help someone out. Adam had contractors installing bird barriers around the solar panels on his house. While they were up on the roof, the wind suddenly began picking up. The contractor's 2-story ladder fell over right on Adam's Tesla. With the contractors trapped on his roof, Adam threatened not to put the ladder back unless they agreed to pay to fix his Tesla. Just kidding, he didn't do that. They're still up on his roof. Okay, but seriously, Adam told us that while the incident was definitely annoying, he appreciates that the contractors took responsibility. He's still waiting for repairs to begin. The initial repair quote is almost $11,000 US, although that may climb. Lauren was driving her Model Y in Belleville, Illinois, when she approached traffic stopped for a red light. Lauren stopped before hearing a loud explosion. Lauren told us she screamed and had no idea what had happened, thinking perhaps her battery had exploded. Once she was out of the car, she realized she'd been in a collision. The driver of a Kia had rear-ended Lauren at full speed, pushing her car forward. Thanks to her foot being on the brake pedal, Lauren had avoided rear-ending the Dodge in front of her. Police, firefighters, and paramedics responded after 911 was called. Thankfully, nobody was severely injured. The Kia driver was found fully responsible, and Lauren made a claim with her insurance provider. The Kia driver admitted she hadn't been paying attention and told the police she didn't even realize traffic was stopped. Prashant was driving his Model 3 to work in Fort Worth, Texas, when he suddenly felt a large impact from behind. He'd been rear-ended by a Chevy at highway speed. Prashant told us the Chevy driver must have had NASCAR aspirations as he was driving way too fast for the traffic conditions. By the time the Chevy driver noticed Prashant, it was too late for him to avoid a collision. He did try to swerve onto the shoulder, and that did reduce the impact somewhat. The Chevy impacted the left corner of the Tesla, completely ripping off a rear wheel and axle, and it rolled across the highway before stopping. Prashant noticed he didn't receive any collision alerts on the Tesla screen, but he did get warned that the parking brake was having an issue and that his left rear tire was low on air pressure. Well, that's an understatement. The insurance company totaled his Tesla after discovering that the battery had been dragged on the ground once the vehicle had been abruptly removed. We have to imagine there was plenty of other damage they took into account as well. Prashant asked us if this wheel damage qualifies him to enter the RimCase giveaway we're running in partnership with Magback, and we think it definitely does. With that, it's time to announce our first lucky winner. We asked you to send us pictures of your damaged Tesla rims, and boy did you deliver a ton of photos of curb-rashed Tesla wheels. We started to wonder, do Tesla owners curb their wheels more frequently than other drivers? We ran a poll on the Wham Baam Teslacam channel page, and out of over 10,000 respondents, 62% told us they'd curb their wheels. We ran another poll on the Wham Baam Dashcam channel asking non-Tesla drivers the same question. Over 5,000 people answered, and drumroll please, 66% of them told us they had curbed their wheels. That's pretty close. Actually, Tesla rims are especially prone to being curbed because the rim extends beyond the rubber of the tire. And that's where RimCase enters the chat. The RimCase from Magback is a DIY product that can protect your Tesla's wheels from damage, and it can even hide some existing damage. Its modular interlocking design makes it easy to install yourself, and you can even swap out damaged pieces. Plus, it blends seamlessly with your Tesla's Uber turbine or induction wheels. We put all the entries we received into this magic tool to select a winner. Let's give it a spin. Our first winner is Corey Chung. It's a good thing he's getting a full set of RimCase because it looks like he needs it. If you didn't win, don't worry. You're automatically entered into next month's giveaway. We'll be giving away another full set, so if you're one of the 62% of Tesla owners who have curbed their wheels and you still need to enter, fill out the entry form at the link in the description. Deanie was driving down a highway on her way to adopt a kitten when a Toyota Corolla veered into her lane, sideswiping the driver's side of her Tesla Model Y. Toyota tap, I guess? What's with all the Toyotas in this episode? Both drivers pulled over. Thankfully, nobody was injured and both vehicles were still drivable. They chose not to involve the police, but when they each made claims with their respective insurance providers, things got interesting. The Toyota driver told his insurance provider that they'd both been changing lanes at the same time when the collision occurred. Deanie's Teslacam footage clearly shows that she'd been staying in her own lane when the Toyota driver began to merge, so both insurance companies found him fully responsible. That's another victory for Teslacam. Cam was heading to work when a commercial van nearly hit a semi-truck while changing lanes. Whoa, that was close. Good thing the trucker was paying attention to his blind spots. We can't wait to see how the Tesla Semi will help drivers avoid collisions and blind spots. Actually, we're surprised we still haven't gotten any Tesla Semi submissions. If anyone at Tesla is watching this video, throw us a bone. The Vegas Tesla family was driving to work when the driver of a Toyota Highlander changed his mind about turning right. The Toyota driver had turned on his turn signal, but obviously hadn't seen our submitter. He changed lanes right as our submitter was passing, and he didn't have an opportunity to react. It's also worth noting that the Toyota driver crossed a solid white line during this illegal maneuver. Our submitter called the police, but they said that since nobody had been hurt, they wouldn't respond. He got the Toyota driver's insurance info himself and filed a claim with his insurance provider. The Vegas Tesla family makes YouTube videos with this car, and they just hit 1,000 subscribers. They're hoping to get the Tesla fixed quickly so they can continue making road trip videos. David had parked his Model Y outside of a diner in Lincoln, Arizona. A severe storm had just come through and the roads were still wet. That didn't stop an aggressive pickup driver from cutting off a car before losing control and slamming into a telephone pole, causing a crazy light show. Incredibly, this knocked out power for the entire town, and David told us the diner employees got the rest of the day off. The pickup driver wasn't off the hook though. David called the police, and they responded to have a friendly conversation with the driver. We find it hilarious that David mentioned the town-wide power outage, but he didn't happen to say anything about the freaking tank parked on the side of the road. Zeus was just getting back from picking up his son from the airport after he'd returned from Air Force combat training. Well, Zeus got some combat training of his own when a Ford Focus came barreling straight at him in a one-way construction zone. Zeus stopped, expecting the other driver to turn into the driveway in front of him, but he continued on his existing heading before hitting the Tesla's mirror. Zeus stopped to check for damage, then reported the collision after getting home. He told us he won't be pursuing it any further since he hopes the small scratch will polish out. Owen was just about to take an exit when a vehicle in the distance T-boned another, flipping it over and sending it spinning on its roof. Owen called 911 and told the operator he had footage of the collision, but they never called him back for it. Patrick was about to pass a red Honda Civic in the passing lane when he saw the driver roll down his window and honk a loogie before nearly driving off the road. When the driver steered back, he overcorrected before losing control. Roll the jingle.
Jump in! Honda!
Wait a second, that wasn't a Honda bump. Patrick managed to evade a collision by giving his Tesla a little extra pressure on the juice pedal. Patrick slowed down to make sure the other driver hadn't wrecked, and thankfully his car was fine. He continued on after he saw the Honda resume driving. Incredibly, even Patrick's shorts escaped unscathed. Julian was driving his Model 3 in Modesto, California when, well, I guess we knew we wouldn't get through an episode without a Honda bump. Wait, 2 missed Honda bumps in a row? We've never seen this before. Is it because we just launched the new Honda Bump merch line? Oof, maybe Toyota Tap is taking over. Now that would be embarrassing. Rob had left his Tesla parked when it was approached by a Honda. Okay, here we go. This Honda driver does not appear to be the most skilled when it comes to parking, which bodes well for us, but not for Rob. Oh man, I never thought I'd be hoping for a Honda to bump a submitter's Tesla. And there we have it. The Honda bump is back, my friends. I mean, sorry, Rob. I'm not actually happy that a Honda bumped your car. I'm just relieved that we can still sell that merch. I don't suppose you'd be interested in a t-shirt, available now at whambam.com. Rob told us he got a phone notification that his alarm had been activated, but he didn't find any damage when he inspected his Tesla. It wasn't until he reviewed his Sentry Mode events that he discovered he'd been the victim of a Honda bump. Since there wasn't any damage, he didn't pursue the matter, other than sending his footage to Wham Bam, that is. Speaking of damage, don't forget to check out the RimCase. Thanks to Magback for sponsoring the giveaway, and if you don't want to wait for the next drawing, use this code to get 15% off an order of RimCase.